waiting in the live stream. What's up, dude? How you doing, my man? I don't think I recognize you. I think this is a first-time viewer, maybe. Wait for the homies to start pooling in. Oh, I gotta make sure it's so good. Get all my shit set up. Are you still here, bro? Are you in the room with us? Oh. What you up to? How you doing? I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. I don't recognize you, man. So, what's up? Nice to meet you. Yeah, dude, I'm good. I don't know if you've been in the live streams before, but every Thursday I go live at 7 o'clock, hang out for an hour or two, and just talk about stuff. And usually, like it kind of takes a second. It's slow at first to get going, but the more time goes on, the more the vibe sort of establishes itself, and we just hang out and talk about life and spirituality and self-development and all this beautiful stuff. And I'm sure if you hang out long enough, you'll also see that there's usually like an influx of random fucking people. A lot of the time there's like trolls and shit like that, and it can get pretty fun depending on the shit they say. But no, dude, I'm doing good. I love Thursdays, not only because of the live streams, but it's the last day of the work week for me. I work Monday through Thursday, and then I have Friday, Saturday, Sunday off. And yeah, I love it. It's such a good way. These live streams are such a good way to sort of open the weekend. I love it so much. How are you doing, man? I don't know where you're from in the country or whatever, but I'm in Maine, dude, and the past 3 days, it was up in like 60 degrees. I think one day hit 70 degrees, and oh my God, am I ready for summer, bro? Oh my gosh. Those topics are all what I'm about, man. That's what's up. Yeah, dude. So yeah, that's another thing. If you have any sort of like question oriented around any of that stuff, that's really what makes these live streams fun. And like that's what I vibe off of the most is the questions that you guys have, and like not even like a question, but just like a situation going on that we could all talk about together. That's the stuff that really gets me going. But yeah, dude, I'm down to talk about whatever for the next couple hours, man. We'll see how it goes. I got my kombucha. Natalie says, hello, what's up, homie? I think I recognize your name. Welcome back. How are you doing? Maybe you've never been here before. I guess here's a question. My wife and I were talking about putting yourself in a box. What do you think about that? Well, I feel like I need a little bit more context to what you mean. Yeah. What do you mean by putting yourself in a box? Do you mean limiting yourself? Because God, that is something I would love to talk about, man. That's like just to kind of get the ball rolling a little bit and share something that was going on literally this past weekend in my life. I've never been here, but you are a vibe. You're a vibe, bro. I hope you enjoy the vibes, and the longer you stay, the more you'll feel those vibes. And like these live streams end up getting really fun the more time goes on. The beginnings can be a little slow for a second, because I'm a smaller YouTuber or whatever. It takes a second for people to pour in, but they're beautiful once they get going. But no, what I was experiencing was, here you go. Look at that, guys. Do you have autism? There we go. I'm gonna keep on moving. You need a cat, bro. I got 4. Are you trolling because I got hair on my shirt or something? No, last weekend to kind of talk about putting yourself in a box, bro. I said that limiting breeds creativity and causes you to really focus on growing what's inside of your box and keeping your focus centered on that. I said that limiting breeds create. That's a really interesting take. It kind of sounds like what you're saying is staying focused. Not necessarily isolating yourself from the world and isolating yourself from doing stuff, but maybe what you mean by putting yourself in a box is staying focused. Yeah, keeping your focus centered on that. Exactly. Is that kind of what you mean? Of kind of like living small and living simply, and that allows you to come into deeper creativity? Satnin. What's up, homie? I've never seen it spelled that way. That's funny. That Ava girl, your message got all glitched out. That's so weird how it does that. I don't know if you guys can see it, but there's like a little Chinese looking character, and then it says something you probably didn't even say. But what's up, Ava? How you doing? But no, I want to share this story real quick. So last weekend, I hung out with my friend, and we met in my hometown, which is like an hour away from where I live now. Yeah, she said yo, and it doesn't even say that for me. It says they. It's glitched out. I'm doing good, Ava. How are you doing? But no, last weekend, I went to hang out with my friend, and we met up in our hometown, because, I live here, he lives here, and this, like, in the middle is, like, my hometown, and he also grew up there as well. Now, I moved out of my hometown last year in June. I moved out, and the reason I moved out is because I lived with my grandfather, and he was like 87 years old or something like that for you. I will translate for you. Yeah, keep it up, bro. But no, my grandfather, long story short, passed away, and I lived with him, so it forced me to have to find my own place. And I didn't feel like going and living with another family member. I definitely wasn't going to go and live with my dad again, I didn't feel like mooching off of anybody anymore, because that's what I was doing. I was like living with my grandfather. I wasn't paying much bills, bro. I mean, like, I'd never lived on my own, and he didn't demand me to pay any sort of bills, so like, why not, But he passed away, and that forced me to go and find my own place. And there's such a beautiful sequence of events in that, because, when I first had to move out, I was like, oh my God, I only make X amount of money a month, so therefore I can only afford this amount of rent per month. So it was like small, you know what I'm saying? It was a small amount. So I started looking at places that were available. What's up, Beans fella? Good to see you, bro. I started looking at places that were what I thought was affordable, and there was like nothing. And plus I got 4 cats, so that's not really feasible, especially at the price per month I was looking for. But then, guys, I said, you know what? No. I can afford a place that's more than what I think I can afford. I decided to live out beyond my means. I decided to be somebody who can do more than what I think I'm capable of. And so, no, it's not a new channel. I just changed my username. Has it really been that long since you've been here? This is my actual name, Devin Gilliam. Yeah, exactly. I just changed my username. But no, I said, you know what? I'm deciding that I have what it takes to live in a nice place. And so I started looking for places that were more than what I thought I could do, right? So I moved out. I'm getting off topic a little bit, but I moved out and I found a beautiful place. It's where I am right now. I'm beyond blessed to be here. My cats are welcomed. I'm welcomed. And also, interestingly enough, what I once thought was not possible and I couldn't afford it is more than doable, because I leveled up who I saw myself to be, and it's beautiful the way that works. But long story short, I live here now, not where I lived with my grandfather, right? Last weekend, me and my friend met up in my hometown, and, I don't have, and my dad lives in that hometown, and I don't have a relationship with him at all. And just when I went to my hometown last weekend, it was nice hanging out with my friend. But then, as I was going home, as I was driving away, I could sense that my energy was just constricted. I could feel that I was just like bogged down. And literally every minute that passed that I got closer and closer to my home, I felt my energy coming back up. I felt myself lightening and softening. And I felt that negative, constrictive energy fading away. And I started to realize that hometown, it represents a version of me that I no longer am. That hometown to me feels like a closed chapter of my life, and just something as simple as and it's a beautiful town. It's not like there's anything wrong with the town itself, but it's the history that I had there. And what happened when I moved out was I completely became a new person. I left the nest, Oh my God, my beautiful mother is here. I'm talking about how I went and hung out with my friend last weekend and the feeling I had about being in my hometown again. But no, I don't like being in that town now because it represents a version of myself that I no longer am. I felt constricted and bogged down. I felt like I was going back into the past, and it did not feel good. It did not feel good, and it made me realize that, like, this is why people leave their hometown. This is why people move away. This is why people level up, because they start to realize that the hometown is almost like symbolic of a ceiling on their potential. And not only the hometown, but like mainly the history that they have in that hometown, and all the relationships and the jobs and the history and everything you've been through in that town. It's symbolic of an identity. It's symbolic of a version of yourself. And what happened to me was when I moved out, I completely blossomed into this new being. And it's why I'm even like here on YouTube in the way that I am right now. I completely became a different person, and going back to that hometown, it's like I'm going back into the past. And it just feels dull and void and almost depressing. And it's because I realized that it's like I'm venturing back into who I used to be. I'm completely aware that that's not who I am anymore, and I don't want to be there. I don't want to be in that energy, And in a way, it's kind of the same thing, like towards my dad, because he lives in that town, and I don't have a relationship with him really at all. And it's kind of the same thing where anytime I engage with him, it's like I'm just getting sucked back down into this version of myself that I don't want to be. And that sucks because it's my dad, but like, yeah, exactly. The butterfly cannot return to the cocoon. Exactly. That's precisely what it felt like. And Braden, I'm bringing up this story based off of what you're saying about being in a box. I don't think it's exactly what you were talking about, but to me, that hometown was the box. And I didn't realize I was in the box until I left it. You see what I'm saying? And I think that's the case for a lot of us, where we don't realize how constricted we are until we get out of the situation that we're in, whether that's a job or the hometown, like I was experiencing, or a relationship, or a habit. You don't realize how restricted your energy is until you're able to become a version of yourself that isn't in that. And then you can see, like, relative to it, you can like see in contrast how bogged down that version of you was. It's kind of like people who are addicted to drugs or alcohol or anything like that, and once they finally get free and once they finally get sober, they can no longer understand the version of themselves that used to be addicted to that thing. Even though when they were addicted to it, they never saw themselves being able to get out of it. They didn't want to get out of it maybe, but through a sequence of events, they found themselves getting out of it. And then when they look back, that version of themselves is completely unrecognizable. And there's no relation between the two. And that's the way that I feel towards my hometown. Funny enough. Like I said, it's a beautiful town. Nothing wrong with the town, but it's what it energetically represents to who I am now. I don't want to be in that town. I don't want to, I'm sober and I remember everything. What do you mean? Like you can still relate to the version of yourself that was addicted? Is that what you're saying? Yeah, that's interesting. But no, like to be kind of vulnerable with you guys a little bit and like transparent. Like I was saying, me and my dad, we don't have a close relationship at all. I won't get into like the crazy details of it, but it's just there ain't no relationship. Like he has us, he has me blocked and all this elementary childish shit, you know. But when I think to myself, man, it sucks. I don't have a relationship with my dad. It does. It does. Like on the surface level, yes, it sucks. But the way that I'm able to be okay with it is because I'm aware there isn't a version of my dad that I've ever known that who I am now wants to have a relationship with. Does that make sense? I wish I had a relationship with my dad. When I look at the kind of person he is, I don't. So the state that it's in now where we're completely separated is on purpose. We're not supposed to be mingled because our energies are completely incompatible. They don't understand each other. It's like oil and water. And why would I sit here loathing going, I wish I had a relationship with my dad, when I don't want to have a relationship with the version of him that I know he is? It's kind of like, you know, like you and your partner break up. And the reason you broke up is because of incompatibility. It wasn't fucking working. And then afterwards, you're like, I wish we were back together. But the person you want to be back with is the person that broke up with you or that you broke up with because it wasn't working. So what you're actually wishing for and longing for and yearning for is a version of them that doesn't exist. I wish they were somebody who stayed. I wish they were a different version, or I wish I was different so that it would have worked. But that's not reality, dude. That's not reality. The reality is that it's incompatible. It's not working. And you longing for them to be back, you're living in a fantasy. Because if it were compatible, and if it was able to work, it probably would have. Do you see what I'm saying? Brother, if you were stuck in a traumatic environment long term, how would you deal with it? Is that offering the possibility to not be in it anymore? Because that is the first step. If you're in a toxic, like, that's the first step that I would recommend, is if you're in a toxic environment, it's not about asking yourself, how do I deal with being in this toxic environment? You're asking the wrong question. You can't tolerate the toxic environment because you're not supposed to. That's why you feel like you can't tolerate it, because you're not supposed to. And you're asking yourself, how can I learn to deal with this toxicity? You want to know what you're doing? That's like putting your hand on a hot surface and going, how can I make this not burn? How can I make it not hurt when I put my hand on the hot surface? The burning is a natural and intelligent response through your nervous system that you can't tolerate it. So when you're in a relationship or a job or a living situation that's toxic and you're saying, I can't tolerate this, that's the part one of the data. And then the second part is, how do I learn to deal with it? You're asking the wrong question. The question you should be asking yourself is, why am I trying to tolerate something that I am not meant to tolerate? The question you should be asking yourself is, how do I get out of this toxic environment? Same thing as taking your hand off the burner. That's how you learn to be okay. Not trying to fool and bullshit yourself into thinking you're okay with burning, but to admit that you can't handle it and to let go of it, to move away from it. So asking yourself, how can I tolerate a toxic environment? If anything, all you're trying to do, if you can't get out of the situation, in that instance, what you're doing is you're just trying to slow the bleed. That's what you're doing. Because you can't get out of it for whatever reason, whether you're stuck in a marriage or you're in a job that you can't leave easily. Don't ask yourself, how do I tolerate this? Because you can't. You're not supposed to. That's why you can't. What you should realize is, I can't get out of this. What can I do to keep my sanity until the first window of opportunity to get the hell out of it arises? You see what I'm saying? Toxic family is a major bummer. Yeah, it is. I'm kind of dealing with that stuff right now, but I'm almost free from it. I come from SoCal, and some people have the opposite problem, where some people can benefit from limiting themselves a bit rather than trying to intake all the things they can't control. Well, are you just talking about like overindulgence? What are you talking about limiting yourself from? Maybe that would clarify more of what you're talking about. Julia Leclerc says, hello. What's up, homie? How you doing? Welcome to the live stream. Codependency will make you believe someone else's happiness or sobriety or opinion of me depends on me burning a hand from time to time. Codependency is scary. Whether that's with a substance or a person or whatever. Codependence is scary because what you're doing is you're outsourcing your own power. You're outsourcing your own ability to come into equilibrium and harmony on your own. It's good to see you too, Julia. Thank you for being here. Is this your first time here? You know, something that I've realized is, like, when I'm single, I don't long for a connection. I'm a very independent and content individual where when I'm not like in love with somebody and I'm grounded and I'm chilling, I'm as happy as can be. And I'm not against a relationship. I'm not like I will never get in, or like I'm not looking. Like, I'm always open, assuming I'm moved on and healed from a previous connection, but like I'm open to a connection when I'm single, but I'm also not postponing my life. I'm not waiting for somebody to then begin living my life. I'm a very content individual. I live my life happily and comfortably and confidently alone, where I live on my own. I'll travel alone. I'll go on walks alone. I'll dance in the rain. You see what I'm saying? Like, I'm happy alone. But then, interestingly enough, when I do get in a connection and I get in a relationship and we fall in love and we get connected and we start hanging out and vibing and a few months goes on, all of a sudden, these dormant things begin to sort of germinate and rear their ugly head. This stuff starts to come up of codependency, of fear of rejection, fear of them leaving me, fear that I'm not good enough, jealousy, possessiveness, over-attachment, codependency. All this stuff comes up, and I'm like, where the hell did this come from? Because when I was single, like, I feel confident, grounded, secure, independent, happy on my own. But then when I get in a connection, all these latent things pop up. And I've had to come to realize that this is because there are two versions of me, and each one doesn't have access to the other one. I'm in single me mode right now. And so therefore, the things within me that are based and dependent on attachment to somebody and a connection are dormant. They aren't attached. I'm not attached to somebody. I'm free in that sense. But then when I get in a connection and I begin to develop an actual like attachment, and attachment is like a derogatory word, but it's like we do have healthy attachment, you know, like that's a thing. And when I get attached with this person, all this stuff comes up. And I've realized that that's because there's a version of myself that I can only work on in the context of a relationship. And I've had to come to terms with that. Where like I can be like, I'm single and I'm like, I'm confident, I'm grounded, I'm healed, I'm secure in my relationships. But I'm speaking from the vantage point and the perspective of somebody who's not in one. And then when I get in one, it's a whole different constellation of me. And I realize that I'm working with a different criteria of myself. And when I'm in the relationship is not only when those codependent tendencies arise, but also in the relationship is the perfect environment for me to work on that version of myself. I have been codependent with my wife for almost 18 years. Oh, co-independent. Very important distinction there. How would you describe that? Like, some people don't put enough time, effort, attention into the things that will make a direct, immediate, and positive impact on their life. Hard to explain with the character limit. Forgive me for my vagueness. No, you're good, dude. So I kind of get the vibe that you're kind of talking about being dedicated to something. Having a goal. Being driven towards making something of yourself and working on yourself. I think what that comes down to is just integrity and wanting to be better than where you are now, wanting to work on yourself and refine yourself, and rather than just kind of floating around from one dopamine hit to the next, you know? Fish, oh my God, Pierce, man. We gotta talk when we can, bro. we gotta talk when you can. Now is not the time for you and I to talk, really. You're obviously safe and allowed to open up and express in the chat and stuff, but no, we gotta talk like on the phone when we can. The spiritual witch, he's just going through relationship shit right now, and we talked a little bit before the live stream, and it's just ugly stuff right now. I'm here being calm. I love you, bro. You're, like I said, I don't know much about you and what's going on and stuff, but the reason you're here and the reason we've talked over time and have known each other, you're a cool fucking guy, bro. You're into some really cool shit. I see your stuff on Facebook, man, and like, you're not a piece of shit. Just saying. To add on, some people outsource their time/attention to other things like social media without integrating things into their life. People in this situation may benefit from voluntarily putting themselves in a box. Yeah, I think there's a term for that these days called locking in, Locking in on your body, locking in on a career or a goal or a vision that you have. Locking in on working on your relationship, whatever that may be. A lot of people, I've been starting to realize, guys, I think I talked about this a couple weeks ago, the difference between dopamine and serotonin. Oh my God, Mythrunder is here. Ram, man, it's so good to see you. I always love every single time when you pull up, man. It's good to see you. But no, like, there is a significant difference between dopamine and serotonin. Like, the enjoyment that we have on this live stream, especially if the longer you stay, the longer we talk and hang out and express and share and relate, the joy and the excitement and the fun and the love, the environment that you feel throughout this kind of like live stream environment, that's serotonin. That's a different kind of joy and happiness. But if you were to keep scrolling and you just start going into scroll mode, doom scroll mode, where you're going from short to short and you're laughing and then you're serious and then you're invested and then you're sad and then you're frustrated and all this stuff, that's dopamine. And you can see the difference there, where dopamine is like this hit. It goes up and then crashes and you need more. Up and then crashes and you need more. That's the same thing. It's with scrolling. It's the same thing with drugs, where you don't do a drug and you're like, there we go, I'm content. No, you do a drug and it brings you up, and then you crash and you're like, well, I'm low again, so I got to do that drug, right? Or like shopping, for example. People, when you buy something online, there's a dopamine spike of buying it. There's a dopamine spike of when it goes out for delivery. There's a dopamine spike of when you finally get to enjoy it, and then it moves on, and then you got to fucking buy something again. Or hookup culture. There's a dopamine spike of getting a match on Tinder. There's a dopamine spike of when you meet up and hang out, and you have your little casual hookup moment, and then you crash. You got to do it again. And, like, eating shitty food dopamine hit. Junk food, dopamine hit. But think about like slowly preparing a fresh, healthy meal, right? Completely different feeling. A dopamine hit is like sex or junk food or drugs or scrolling. Serotonin is like developing a loving relationship with your partner or hanging out with your pets and loving on them, or the contentment you feel from cleaning your home and that sense of serotonin is the kind of thing. Serotonin is you sitting on the porch sipping coffee in the morning. It's different. It's a different feeling. Or you out on a walk, just enjoying the walk. Serotonin is the kind of thing where when you get home after a long day of work and you're tired, but you feel good, that's serotonin. It's not like, this is what dopamine looks like. Up, plateau, crash. Up, plateau, crash. Serotonin has this waving, undulating, slow-moving vibe to it, and it has the ability to compound. You know? Hold on, Daddy Isla, what did you say up top? 1 second. We decided rarely that we would never focus on the other so much that we took the focus off ourselves. Wedding rings are not shackles. We swim different strokes in the same pool. That's interesting, man. She got a tooth pulled Monday and got a UTI today, back on antibiotics. My codependence consists of ice cream and foot rubs. Dude, that's so sweet, man. How old are you again, bro? Social media is like junk food for the brain. I say this being guilty. Yeah, oh yeah, I do it too, bro. Like I'll lay in bed and like I'll just scroll for an hour before bed. You know? I do it too. Doom scrolling stresses out your brain. I've felt it. The constant change of situation. Yeah, dude, exactly. That's it. Hard choice equals easy life. Easy choice equals hard life. That's kind of facts. Delayed gratification. That's something that is a very important thing that I've been learning in my life is we don't stay dedicated to something long enough to actually see the fruits of staying dedicated to that thing. We're right on the cusp of seeing a transformation. We're right on the cusp of seeing results, whatever that may be, where we're almost there. We're about to break through into a different version of ourselves, but we give up right before it because we thought that if I put in some effort, I should see some results, right? But a lot of things take time and dedication and consistency. And also they grow under the radar for a while. They develop and strengthen under the radar before they actually show up and manifest in your life. Where like, if you live your life leading a life of love and positivity and growth and working on yourself and leading a life of love and being kind to people and all these kind of things, you might not see any immediate results from that. But somewhere along the lines, you're going to see a result in your life that is a direct result of you leading that life. And it takes a second. It takes a minute to come into your life, you know, and we're so addicted to these short dopamine hits of immediate gratification that a lot of us are losing the drive and the motivation to dedicate ourselves to something where we build something that is lasting and worthwhile. You know, we give up right before it happens. We give up right before the breakthrough. We give up right before we're about to see the fruits of our work. You know, like you're writing a book or something, and you're like, oh my God, this is hard, and then you give up. Whereas if you keep going and you kept putting in the work and putting in the reps and showing up and working on it, and then you get the book done, now you ain't got to work on that bitch. Like, that's how I feel with my book. I wrote a whole ass book, and I'm so glad that I actually finished it because I never have to work on it again. And I get to have that book now, have that completed project. A lot of us start projects but don't finish them because we don't see the results as quickly as we wanted to see them, and we're like, oh, fuck it. And then we put it on the back burner, you know? Hey, Sonya, what's good, bro? True, Fish, if you open yourself to options, you get overwhelmed and it's hard to make a decision. But when you discipline yourself, choices become simple. Yeah, a lot of us don't have discipline, you know? Another important thing that I've been realizing, I want to talk about this in a video, is having systems in our life, developing systems, kind of like a schedule, a routine to your life where you're not just kind of floating around doing whatever comes up. There's kind of a rhythm to your life, you know? Like, that's me with YouTube all the way. There's so much that goes into my YouTube channel. These live streams is one of it. And then my short form content and my community posts and my newsletters and then my long form videos and editing the videos and cutting out shorts and recording shorts and writing out descriptions and thumbnails and title. There's all this stuff. And if I just like wung it and was just like, oh, gotta do a video today, and oh shit, I didn't edit that other one, and oh my god, I need to upload a short, and I feel like posting a community post right now, and oh my god, it's Thursday, I gotta go live, and like if I was just all over the place and I had no structure, I had no system to it, I'd get burnt out, overwhelmed, and not know how to maintain it. But my work on YouTube is like completely systematized, you know, where every weekend I have a set of work that I do. And then Thursdays I go live, and then every 4 days I post a long form video, and then I edit, and then I make thumbnails, and then like it's all systematized and it's laid out. So I don't have to really put any thought into it. It just happens, you know? And that's the case with a lot of us where like if you're trying to build something in your life, whether it's like a routine in working out, or a routine in keeping the house clean, or a routine where you like grocery shopping, or whatever the hell it is, you know, like having a system in your life allows you to be so much more productive with your day, you know? Like I'm starting to realize how productive 1 hour of dedicated time can be, you know? I'm battling another flu. What the hell, man? I feel like you always got something going on, bro. That's what Brian Johnson, Longevity Guru, did. He made his life system and follow it to a T. But it's so unnatural, though. First of all, what's up, bro? Good to see you, man. Dude, Brian Johnson, he's interesting. He's funny, but I can't really like get super deep into his content. He's trying to live forever. That's pretty far out. Yeah, I see what you mean about the unnatural nature of it, where it's not really, you know, what we would call natural. Is just kind of doing what you fucking feel like, you know? But I feel like we have to have a little bit of structure and discipline and routine to something we're working on in our life in order to actually really dedicate to it and get progress done in a good amount of time, rather than just dragging it on. Like, think about procrastinating, for example. Yeah, it's unnatural, but chaos needs order, yin and yang and all that. I love that so much. Dude, I have a cat named Yang. You guys want to... I'm going to go out on a limb here. I'm going to bring up something that a lot of you will probably oppose as I share it, which is fair. But I'm under the impression that everything in, not only on planet Earth, but in the universe as a whole, is completely perfect. Like, it's perfect. There's not one thing wrong happening. Now, the immediate impression when I say that is like, you think war is perfect? You think poverty is perfect? You think illness? Sonya's over here sick as fuck. You think that's fucking perfect? You know? You think pain and sadness and suffering is perfect? Perfect does not mean awesome. Perfect means it makes sense, and it's tied in on like a sort of karmic fabric of why it's happening, where everything is happening in complete perfect accordance with everything else, where you think, why is the world in the state that it is, and why is there poverty and war and all that? Look at the way we live our lives. It completely makes sense. You know? There isn't a single error in the state of the world based off of the way we live our lives. The way people think of greed and fear and hatred and all this, and divisiveness and all of it. It's all perfectly playing out as we're building it. You know? And there's a great deal of pain and a great deal of chaos and turmoil and all these kinds of things. But like the way I heard Alan Watts describe it like this, he talked about if you zoomed in on your bloodstream, you would see what appears to be just an outrage of cells and blood cells and bacteria and all this stuff fighting and colliding and multiplying and dividing and dying, and all this craziness would be going on. But that apparent chaos and disorder of your bloodstream on that close-up of a level is necessary for the order of your whole body to be taking place. In order for the harmony of a human body to take place, there has to be chaos and seeming disorder on a smaller scale taking place in order to allow the order and harmony of us on the macrocosm. You know? Now, what if that's the same thing with the universe as a whole? What if the chaos that we experience on Earth and in our lives individually and just as a whole is necessary for a greater level of harmony and order on a level that we can't conceive of? You know? I get what you mean. I think of it as perfection is in the process of being realized and unfolding, but would all make sense in the end. That's what I believe as well. I believe in that too, that I think we're here for a reason, man. Yeah. You can't tell me that this isn't something absolutely incredible. Dude, I had a TikTok that I posted a couple days ago, a few days ago or something. And it kind of blew up a little bit. And I was talking about how our brain doesn't produce consciousness, but rather receives it. Kind of like a TV receives and transmits Channel 7. The TV doesn't create Channel 7. Channel 7 exists as a wave, as a frequency, and a properly functioning TV is able to tune into Channel 7 and broadcast it. And the analogy I was sharing is, what if that's what we are like as well? We're kind of like a TV that allows for the energy of consciousness to be tuned into us and broadcasted through us, you know? And it was so interesting seeing what people had to say about it. So many people thought differently. So many people were like, that's bullshit, bro. That's not true at all. You know, and you have no proof of what you're saying and all this stuff, and the science heads going off. It was so fascinating. Have to sleep. Much love. Much love, Sonia. I hope you feel better. It sucks to hear you're not feeling well. Have you heard of panpsychism? No. I think somebody brought that up in that post I was just talking about. I haven't heard of that. What is it? How about this? The world isn't perfect, but the process is. Yeah, I can get down with that. The world isn't perfect in what we would define perfection to be. You know? Like, I know so many people that are like, if God exists, why is there suffering? And that's a fair question. But it's also, in a way, elementary, because, like, like if you think about it, what that question is presuming, if God exists, why is there suffering? What it's saying is, if I were God, I'd make everything awesome 24/7. And if that isn't the most human, elementary train of thought ever, I don't know what is. If there was a God, why is there so much suffering in the world? It's a fair way of thinking. It makes sense, but it's also elementary. Because it's supposing that if there were a higher being, there would be zero suffering. But let me ask you this. What if, on a level greater than what we're able to perceive and understand, the suffering that we experience is functional on a level of our own development? You ever noticed how it's kind of like the shitty stuff in your life that wakes you up the most, that grows you, that transforms you, and it's kind of against your will because you're suffering and you're like, I wish I felt awesome right now, but I don't, and I hate it. I wish I felt better. But then when you move through it, because everything comes and goes, you've learned from it. You learned from that shitty relationship. You learned from that loved one passing away. You learned from getting fired from that job. You learned from poverty and losing your home, and like, you learn from the pain. We don't want to learn through pain because we want to be blissed out 24/7. But what if God, what if the divine is so far out that it's willing to teach you in a way that you wouldn't be willing to undergo yourself, because the divine understands what you're actually capable of and what it will actually take to wake you up. People say, they say that. They say, if God exists, why is there suffering? In my opinion, the presence of suffering is not ample evidence that there isn't a God. Pain also makes great music. Art, yes, exactly, homie. Exactly. Think about the love songs. Think about the depth of them. I was literally listening to an artist today, a song, one little song. I almost started crying, bro. Because I felt the emotion and the passion. Suffering and pain brings that kind of depth. Do I have pit stains? I do a little bit, don't I? We are all panpsychics. Pan equals all. Psyche equals mind. Yeah, so what does that mean, bro? Like Fish says, it's like consciousness is the building block of experience and present in everything to some degree, like atoms are present in all material things. Consciousness is also the prerequisite for existence at all. If you really think about it on a philosophical and subjective level, we have no proof whatsoever that anything even exists apart from consciousness. You see what I'm saying? Like, we would assume, let's assume that there is only life on Earth, right? There's no life everywhere else. If life went extinct on Earth, science presumes that the entire universe would just carry on. But there's no one to even validate or verify that. There's no consciousness to experience the universe going on, so the universe doesn't exist. What is existence apart from awareness of it? It's kind of like how you can't separate the seen from the seer. They're one, they go together. A seer implies the seen. That's some really deep philosophical shit. Whoa, why are you bringing up Oscar? You're bringing up Mike Posner. Bro, I love him so much. I literally sing that song like every day. I took a pill in Ibiza. Oh, that shit's so good. Dude, I tried to collab with him a couple years ago, man. Fuck. I wanted to get him on my YouTube channel and have like a collab with him. If we can make our minds suffer, what about the opposite? What's interesting, Fish, is I feel like we make ourselves suffer by trying to be happy. Think about it. No, you're right, bro. I'm spamming the chat. You're not spamming, bro. Suffering is a feature, not a bug. We're not made to be omnipotent. We're made to have a limited body to act upon the world, which we will inevitably have suffering, but also leads to creation and potential. Dude, yeah, I love that. Suffering is a feature, not a bug. I love that. It's the same as love, man. It's built in. Hey, been enjoying the shorts, man. Great content. Thank you so much, man. I'm glad to have you here, bro. Daddy Ilo. That's fucking facts, bro. I'm pinning that. That's so good. That's huge, dude. We need to make less goals and make more plans. I love that, dude. Because that goes from dreaming to taking action. That goes from imagining to execution, which is what it takes to take the thing you're imagining and fantasizing and bring it into your reality. Man, that's so huge. We all go, oh wow, imagine that. One day, if only, where if you spent the time, if you took the time that you spend imagining and fantasizing and instead translated that and put it into taking action and making plans and acting on those plans, you would have the thing that you're fantasizing about. You would bring it into your life. Like when you dream about something, you're kind of keeping it up out of your reach. Oh, imagine that, financial freedom. Imagine that, a soulmate. You keep it as a dream. You spend your time dreaming about it rather than taking action towards it. You know? That's huge, bro. Plans are cheap. Action is expensive. I'd rephrase that, Oscar. Goals are cheap. What Daddy Ilo means in saying that, we need to make less plans and take more walks. I love that. No, what he means in saying goals are, what did he say? Make less goals and make more plans. He's talking about actually take fucking action. Go towards what you want. Take action that moves you, that moves the needle. Not just sit there and have a goal. You know? And also stay dedicated. Stay consistent. Keep showing up even when you're not seeing results. That's huge. Like imagine if I gave up on YouTube because I don't have as many views as I want. I wouldn't be here right now hanging out with you guys. Devin, have you ever landed a kickflip? No. I have not. Mr. Buzzcut. That's it. I'm changing my username to Mr. Buzzcut, guys. Oh, I pinned your comment, but you can't even see the whole thing. Shit. I'm going to unpin it. How the hell do I unpin it? Unpin. There we go. How are you guys feeling? Who's still here hanging out? Thousands of dying starfish wash up ashore. What do you mean? Just step out in faith. Faith in yourself and whatever God you are walking toward. I feel like there's such a fine balance between action. Like I think of life like a game of chess where, oh fuck. Like think about it like this. Like when you're playing chess, you make a move and then your opponent makes a move. And let go of the idea that it's an opponent and an enemy and that stuff. You're in a game. You're both cooperating together to play this game of chess. You make a move, they think about it, and then they make a move. And then you think about it, and then you make a move. And I feel like that's what life is like too, where when we have a direction or a vision, or we're moving in a particular way in our life, we make a step, we take an action, and then we leave space for the universe to make its move. And the beautiful part is that when you take a step, the universe matches your energy. Like if you feel stagnant and you feel stuck and you feel like nothing's really going anywhere, it's because you're not making a step and the universe is just matching that energy that you're broadcasting. Where you're saying, my life isn't going anywhere. I'm stuck. I don't know what to do. And so the universe says, all right, I'm stuck. I don't know what to do. I'm not going anywhere. It matches that energy. But what's so beautiful, and I've experienced this so much in my life, is if you suddenly make an action, if you make a decision, it's like it wakes the universe up and it goes, oh shit, it's my turn. He moved. He made a move. And it matches your energy. When you make a decision, when you take a step, it demands the universe to show up. Now, the move that the universe makes might be in opposition to what you're trying to go towards, but just like in a game of chess, you think it over and you strategically make your next move towards the thing that you're going towards. And then the universe makes its move. And it's literally a game of chess where if you persist and you keep moving towards it with faith and confidence and strategy, being clear in what you're doing, you will get there. The universe will walk you to it. Now, the analogy of the game of chess thing is, it's not that when you make a step, the universe is trying to beat you. It's the idea that the universe is, we're dancing. We're in tandem with each other. Where I make a move and then the universe makes a move. And then I make a move and then the universe makes a move. And also, if you, like a lot of people, this is a really good one too. A lot of people think, if I don't make an action, nothing's going to happen. That's true to an extent. But when you get caught up in this hustle and grind mentality of, I need to make it all happen. If I don't do it, it's not going to happen. I'm in control of this whole thing. I need to keep going, keep grinding, keep making action, keep making progress, etc. And you don't have any rest, any pause, and zero faith that the universe will lift you up and unfold opportunities and situations that will help you forward. When you get stuck in that action mentality, you're playing God, essentially. And the universe goes, all right, you do it, big dog. You don't need me. You don't need me to do anything. You do it all. And that leads to burnout. That leads to overaction. That leads to doing your way into failure. Because you're misunderstanding a major component and principle in life, which is give and receive. Do and be. Act and rest. Where you make a move and then the universe makes a move. And we need to cultivate some degree of trust in allowing the universe to play its part in the development of our life too. Rather than thinking, it's up to me, I'm going to do it all. You see what I'm saying? Easier said than done. I want to believe what you're saying. What was it exactly that I was referring to? The chess moves thing? Homie. Think about this. I'm gonna use an example real quick, okay? Let's say the game of chess you're playing is, and also the way that this functions is really interesting because the universe will continue to steer you in the direction that it knows is best for you. You can keep fighting it though. You can keep pushing against it. So let's say you're trying to make a relationship work that's not meant to work. You move the chess, you say, we're gonna work this out. And then the universe plays its part, big ass explosion goes off in the relationship. And then you think your next move is, nope, we're gonna make this work. And then you get fucking abused again, or they cheat on you again. And then you do another move, and that's the universe making its move. And then you go, nope, we're gonna make this work. And then there's a big blowout. And you just keep forcing yourself in a direction that the universe is actively trying to guide you away from. You see what I'm saying? So you can be persistent in an area that the universe itself knows is not good for you. And the universe will continue to match you with energy that goes against the direction of where you're trying to go, because it understands that you're acting from resistance and you're trying to force something that's not good for you. So you will continually, again and again and again and again and again, be met with that resistance until you learn the lesson, which is to let go of that thing that you know isn't good for you, but that you want really fucking badly. You let it go. All of a sudden, all the energy that you've been investing into something that is not good for you is liberated and available to you. And yeah, there's grief. Yes, there's pain. Yes, it fucking sucks. But you're now back in flow with the universe. You're now back in flow with your highest good. You're not fighting for a constricted version of yourself anymore. You've let go. And it's easier said than done. But man, the universe is always trying to keep us on track with our highest good. And it whispers to us. It speaks quietly to us, the guidance. Where we know what we need to do. But the mind is loud. The mind is loud. You know? No offense, but you can never tell these days. Hey man, I'm not even going to argue. I love the analogy or metaphor. I can never learn the difference. They're kind of the same thing, aren't they? I can't ever remember the difference between an analogy, metaphor, or simile. I think a simile is a comparison when you use the word like. It's like, I think. I don't fucking know. English was the class that I did the best in school. I fucking aced that shit, bro. Yeah, you add a brushstroke to your life's canvas and the universe adds the paint. Sometimes life sets the paint down gently and sometimes it fires it from a cannon. Your job is to simply keep painting. Oh, I love that, man. That's facts. That's so true. Should I be nice? I'd say so. Same, I got high grades in English, low in Swedish. That's funny, man. Yeah, dude, it's funny. Like, I love language, man. Like I was always so good at It's so funny that I just said I don't know the difference between analogy and metaphor and that shit. Because I was just going to say I always did so good at understanding the meaning of words in school, you know? Holy shit, Daddy Isla, you joined the team, bruh. You're a member of my channel now. Let's go. Thank you, man. I appreciate you, bro. You hear about that retired Air Force general who was in charge of UFOs mysteriously disappeared? No. I wonder if they're mysteriously not giving that any media coverage. Somehow my last membership expired. I didn't even know you were a member, man. That's sus that YouTube would expire it. That's weird. Well, thank you, man, for real. Might have been a gift. What? What was the gift? Your membership expiring? Do you guys believe in UFOs? Do you believe that there's life elsewhere in the universe? Gifted membership. Oh, yeah, that's probably exactly what it was. I remember when Sonya, I don't know what the hell she even did, bro. She like raided my live stream with like, it added a bunch of people onto the memberships, which was really cool. She paid for them. I remember she gave me like $70 in memberships for a month. It was sick. Yes, yeah, I absolutely believe in life on other parts of the universe. Why not, man? We live in like an infinitely large universe. Why the hell not? You know? Of course, the unknown observers have been here for a long time. There's too much evidence, and by evidence I do mean witness testimony. Yep. Singular, not so credible. Man, I hate that shit, man. Like, see, that was the thing. Hey, Tess, what's good, bro? Good to see you, man. We're talking about aliens. On that post I made on TikTok that kind of blew up a little bit, I was talking about how, you know, consciousness isn't created in the brain, and it's like, you know, everybody was like, prove it, bro. Prove it. And it's like, science? Okay, so I'm going to share you guys a little quote from Terence McKenna. This is paraphrased. Terence said, science prides itself on being the most rational, realistic, predictable, and provable metric of measuring the universe that there is. But when you ask them how the universe came to be, they say, oh, well, allow me to explain. The universe suddenly, for no reason at all, instantly popped into existence out of nowhere. That's the leading edge of what science claims as to where the universe came from. It came out of nowhere instantly for no reason. Poof, there it is. And Terence went on to say, if you can believe that, no other claim, mystical or not, is any less or more far out than that. Science offers us the pinnacle of unbelievable claims as to where it all came from. Like, think about it. A good proof is the telepathy studies done with ayahuasca. I've experienced telepathy with my brother on LSD, for sure. What about interterrestrial life? The mage. Oh, like archetypes. Yeah, I do believe in that. That's kind of a fucking mouthful. I do believe in that. I don't think there are species in charge of our life. Everything in your life is predetermined. Ooh. Talking about no free will. If your name is Will, that's funny that you're bringing that up right now. I'm so fucking far out when it comes to this stuff. I think there's both free will and not free will. Ram Dass has a good quote. He says, who you think you are has no free will, but who you are has free will. That's an interesting discussion, the free will thing. Hey, Josh the Vegan, what's up, dude? Yeah, the Big Bang, the one free miracle science needs. Yep, exactly. I do understand why they always have to have an explanation. I just think it cannot be verified as a fact no more than ETs. Yeah, and they're kind of, they come from the mindset of guilty until proven innocent. Where when you make a claim that there's God or consciousness exists outside of the brain, or anything to that extent, they frame you as you are guilty of bullshit and you need to prove you're not full of bullshit. But there's a great deal of what they claim that they can't prove. They believe there is no life after death or consciousness or continuity after death because they can't account for it. So they're like, if we can't account for it, it doesn't exist. which is it's reductionistic, but it's, I don't know, it's so, it's like, it's not playful, it's not fun. We don't know what the fuck this is, man. Why not explore? We think we're being realistic by being scientific. But science, this is really far out. People will be like, yeah, I'll stick to the science, buddy. And I often think, what? The science that's been around for like 300 years? As opposed to ancient 1,000-year-old mysticism and philosophy and inquiry, right? Like, yeah, sure, modern science has like wild capabilities of like prying and prodding and looking at the parts of shit. But as far as like the universe goes, as far as consciousness goes, as far as the mystical goes, when you lean in the direction of science, you're banking on new theories, new philosophies, new ways of thinking. Science is new. Rational, skeptical, reductionistic thinking is new. That's a new way of looking at things. You can't say the universe isn't science. Well, the universe isn't science. Science is a way of observing the universe. It's a lens of looking at the universe, where you can look at the universe through the lens of science. In the same way, like psychology isn't science. Psychology is a language or a lens of looking at, of consciousness, of your life, you know? Whereas if you look at your life through the lens of science, you look at atoms and biology and shit like that, but that doesn't account for the dimension of your own psychology, you know? The universe isn't science, the universe isn't psychology, the universe isn't spirituality. It is, and we look at it in a myriad of different ways, you know? Like, it's far out. We say the reason gravity exists, and the reason when I let go of this bracelet it drops is because of density and gravity and gravitational pull, and it's a law of physics. Now that makes sense, and it's really, it's sound, and I believe it. I absolutely believe it. I'm not going to sit here and say I don't. But I might as well just say the bracelet drops because it feels like it fucking wants to. That's why do things get pulled towards the sun? Because they do. That's what it does. Like, you see what I'm saying? That's an outrageous example. But it's that, it's a way in which you describe it that defines the reality that you're living in, you know? That's just you being rebellious and dumb. In that example, yes, that's me being rebellious and dumb. Where this drops because it feels like it, you know? But no, mysticism and spirituality and thinking outside of the confines of scientific is not being rebellious and dumb. It's existed thousands of years longer than these white lab coat wearing sophisticated scientists have even fucking been a gleam in their dad's eye. You know what I mean? These ways of thinking, these ancient frames of thinking of spirituality and mysticism and consciousness and all this stuff has existed for so fucking long. And modern science is an infantile development right now. It's just come along. And we're like, this is the way it is. We've always thought that with every fucking thing we discover. You know? Dudes like you have been sitting around for years confused. If you go and talk to a real sophisticated and intelligent scientist, they're just as fucking confused as the philosopher. They don't know what this is. They can describe why shit's happening, but they don't know what reality is. They don't know what the fuck, nobody does. That is the difference. No, that's not the difference. That's the similarity that the philosopher works with. They're looking at life in a different way. Like, if anything, the dumb scientists are the ones that are like, we know how it is. No, you fucking don't. The intelligent, wise, sophisticated scientists are the ones that realize I'm looking at life through a scientific lens. I'm looking at physics through a scientific lens. But do I know what this is? Do I know why it is? Not at all. Science heads got a fucking chip on their shoulders that they can't let go of. Because they think that predictability and repeatability and tangible, I can grab it so it exists. I see it so it's what I say it is. They think that makes them the superior way of viewing reality, but it's just a way of viewing reality. No, I mean, it probably sounds like I do to you, somebody who thinks that science is the way it is. But no, I'm open to science. I'm open to all of it. I just, anytime I engage with sort of narrow-minded, rationalistic, scientific people, they always have this energy that they know this is the way it is. But they fucking don't. They're just looking at it through one myopic lens. You know what I'm saying? Never said that, just explaining that you are saying nothing, yet making fun of... Well, no, what do you mean I'm saying nothing? I haven't even really shared like a particular perspective about this. I'm talking about there's a myriad of different perspectives of what this is, aside from that of like a scientific lens of sharing it, you know? If you want me to share like what I think reality is, I'll just completely preface it by saying I have no fucking idea. But to talk just from like my personal experience and the way that I feel, you know, and to kind of tie it into what you're talking about, science is very realistic. It's not bullshit. It's very real. Math is real. No, science isn't wrong. That's not what I'm saying. Science is a way of looking at life. And it's a way of looking at life that I completely respect and am open to. I don't think the earth is flat. You see what I'm saying? I go along with that and I agree with all of that. But I've experienced things myself and I look at life through a lens of sort of realizing that reality is most likely more than we characterize it as. You know what I mean? Like, I feel almost undoubtedly that this can't not be something crazy. You know? So do psychologists. They have a chip too. That's true. Trying to turn psychology into physics because of how beautiful and accurate physics. That's true, dude. Psychologists can have that same feeling as well. Yeah, psychologists like if you're in love, a psychologist will just be like, "Oh, that's just oxytocin." You know? "Oh, it's just a neurotransmitter." That's all it is. You know? It's reductionistic. Oscar, I mean, if you break it down, they're the same at some point, but psychology is messy. Wait, what do you say? Yeah, they are relatively different, I would say. Psychology is trying to describe the inner subjective experience, you know? Whereas science or physics or whatever is describing the external, you know? Silver Soldier got a little sassy. He did. See, that's what I'm saying, man. The scientists out here, I don't know. Maybe it's their reductionistic thinking that's got them so butthurt and like bent out of shape. I don't know. I don't know what it is. Or maybe it's just like what they've been through in their life. I don't fucking know. One is messy, other is more explored and understood. See, science is able to make such progress because it's based upon like mathematics and things you can touch and things you can repeat and predict. You know, like it's very logical. And it's easy to make grounds in that area where you run experiments and all that kind of stuff. But like psychology is like Fish is saying, way more open, you know? If you met an alien, what would you ask it? I would say, what do you think life is? Imagine the aliens are reductionistic scientists too. Like they look fucking like this absolute alien form, but they're a skeptic scientist. Science is based on consistency. That leads me more to creation than chaos. What do you mean? What does that second part mean? I think I might head out soon. I'm tired tonight. Tess just blowing me a kiss. Is that what you did? It did the weird fucking glitch thing. I don't even know if that's what you said. That leads me to believe in a creator more than the chaos of a Big Bang and our accidental existence. I get laughing about that. I literally was laughing about it today. This is an accident. This is a big old cosmic oopsie daisy. We just accidentally wound up here. Our life and our awareness and our experiences and all the learning and all the growth and transformation, all of this is just a fucking oops. Life just being like, oops, nah, I don't think so. I don't think so. There's no way in my mind this is an accident. You know? Any last little things before I head out, guys? Fish. Oops, did I do that? Yeah, right. Jeez, bro, there ain't no way, man. Way too much perfection in all the formulas. Yeah, and just like when you just feel your own existence, that doesn't feel like an accident. I hear my cat meowing. I think the aliens may have gotten lost in their created artificial reality, perhaps losing purpose, and therefore they may be interested in lower life forms with more mundane problems. Hey, that's interesting. They probably enjoy watching us like TV, worrying about coffee being too hot. Dude, that's funny. It's kind of like the idea of how like the reason there's even any form at all in the universe is because God got bored being everything. And so God decided to, and I'm just saying him for the fucking sake of just saying this, mask himself in a myriad of multiplicity so that he could go through the experience of experiencing himself and remembering himself and being able to be seen as different. You know, because it's boring being all one. You know? Anthropomorphizing aliens is the most human thing ever. What does that mean? What does that word mean? Anthropomorphizing humans. Yeah, tell me what that word means before I go. Here I am saying I'm good at English, and this is like the fourth word now that I don't even know what it means. What else should we do? Oh, God, I can only imagine. What does that mean? Somebody tell me what that means. Is it like relating aliens? Anthropomorphism is the attribution of human traits, emotions, or intentions to non-human entities like animals, objects, or natural phenomena. What about aliens? So it's kind of like personification. Live your best life or die trying daily. Hell yeah, man. Yeah, personification is kind of what like when you watch National Geographic and you feel bad when you watch the zebra get eaten by a fucking lion. Personification is usually what is responsible for um the sadness that you feel towards it. Is you're thinking about if you were watching like a baby, a human baby get kidnapped or something or murdered. You see, like that's kind of what we're doing, and that's what makes it seem so brutal and savage. When in reality, it's just nature playing itself out, which is a really interesting thing because like you watch videos where the gazelle gets eaten and like killed by the cheetah and you feel bad for the gazelle. But then you watch a clip where the gazelle gets away from the cheetah and then it shows the cheetah sad just sitting there and you feel bad for the cheetah. I shared a meditation I wrote years ago in your Discord that touches on the creation versus Big Bang. I just saw that post, man. I'm going to check it out once I end this live stream. Oh no, did he leave? I thought that guy broke down. Oh yeah, he did. Yeah. Maybe it's still here. I don't know. It's deep. Is it a video? Or is it a written? Yeah, it must be written, yeah. Where's Discord links? Fish, go to my YouTube channel and then click the links at the top. And you'll see one that says join the Inner Shift Society. And then it'll take you into the Discord through there. I'd love to have you in there, man. And I'd love to chat again, for real. Probably not tonight, because I'm going to be going to bed soon. But we got to chat soon, bro. Holy fuck. Like, for real. Life on Our Planet, directed by Steven Spielberg. Oh, my God. What did he do again? What is he responsible for? I think I'm going to get moving, guys. I'm tired. It's been fun, though. Pretty laid back live stream tonight. It's cool. I see a bunch of hearts pouring into the chat. E.T. Oh, is that what he made? E.T. was a far out movie, man. All right, I'm going to get moving. I love you guys. I'll see you all next Thursday. Maybe I'll go live randomly this weekend or something if I feel like it. But I love you guys. Thank you for hanging out. And I hope to see you on next Thursday's live stream. Don't leave, Charlie. You just pulling up and you telling me don't leave? Get out of here, bro. I love you. Charlie, go talk to me in the Discord, bro. And if you aren't in the Discord, by the way, you should join. Tess, you should get Discord and join the Discord. It's like all these homies right here are all in it. I would love to see you there. And any of you that aren't in the Discord, I'd love to see you there as well. Leela. All right. I love you guys. I will see you next week. Peace out, guys.